plan to link the state development plan to actual steps that we need to take to bring it to fruition. Today, we hope that this plan will be available for all of you and the citizens of Kaduna State to comment upon. It is a green paper, it's a consultation paper for which we hope will take feedback before concluding and publishing it. We hope to finance the plan through the budget, public debt, public-private partnerships, as well as external support. The plan has 5 objectives, and the objective number 5, I think, is the most important in my opinion: to create a conducive environment for public-private participation in infrastructure project development. We cannot do this alone. We need the private sector, and our job is to create the environment that will give private sector the comfort to do this. The key aspects of the plan is that we will outline in that plan state infrastructure stock and infrastructure targets for the period 2017 to 2050, a period of some 34 years. We will also include in the plan infrastructure budget allocations, as well as considerations for socio-economic and politically related issues of environment, gender, employment, universal access, and inclusion. Each economic, social, and governance sector is examined and detailed out for you to give us your feedback, and each sector has benchmarks of infrastructure stock used to conduct the analysis. The plan also includes investments by local governments, because there are 2 tiers of government in Kaduna State. The state government will do substantially most of the contents of the plan, but the local governments also have a role. We also have what we call a priority project portfolio based on a selection matrix and community choices. And what drove the selection of these key projects is their potential for job creation, GDP growth, poverty alleviation, and economic development. As I said, we'll finance the plan through a mix of budget, federal and state support, public debt, both domestic and external, PPPs, as well as joint ventures. We're also unveiling today sector implementation plans. As I said, going from the state development plan, we tasked each ministry, department, and agency to look at the state development plan and detail out what they need to do as their own component of the state development plan. The sector implementation plans were therefore developed to provide a basis for linking the SDP with the annual budget. Each ministry's programs and projects earmarked for implementation during the plan period up to 2020 are in the sector development plan, which we will unveil later today. The second pillar is social welfare. And that social welfare programs, we did many things in 2016 which will continue, like the school feeding program, rehabilitation of schools, the protection and conservation of our cultural heritage. We want to establish school-based management committees for all our schools, and we're doing a lot of work under social rehabilitation and have brought all our primary health centers, primary health care under one roof. Over 50% of the 2017 capital budget is earmarked for social infrastructure, and 80% of this is on education. Indeed, 36% of our state budget is on education, because we believe that's an area we need to catch up a lot. The third pillar is security and justice. Today we hope to unveil the Kaduna Comprehensive Security Architecture, KADCOSA, which has 4 components. The first is justice. No peace is possible without justice. So we are going to accelerate investigation of crimes, prosecution, and strengthen our Ministry of Justice to take over prosecution from the police. We are also investing in technology. We have acquired drones for the use of Nigerian Air Force in Kaduna for surveillance. We are installing closed-circuit television in Kaduna, and then we'll do the same in Zaria and Kafanchan, again for surveillance of crimes. We are establishing an operations center that will bring all these technologies together to help our law enforcement agencies in monitoring and prosecution of crimes. In the area of community engagement, we hold regular town hall meetings. We have platforms to engage with our citizens, which I will talk about a little later. And finally, we aggressively support our security agencies. We provide communications equipment for them, vehicles, as well as other material like bulletproof vests to support the work of the federal government. The final component is governance. This I have already spoken about, what we are trying to do to reform our government, to make our local governments more effective, to engage more intensively in community engagement, and we have policy documents for every sector. If you come to Kaduna, you will know where we want to take the state, where we are going. There is nothing that is hidden. We've published policy documents for every sector. But beyond that, we've launched a public sector renewal and revitalization program to renew our public service, to bring in younger generation into our public sector, and encourage older non-ICT compliant people to retire early. So how do we plan to get Kaduna to where we want it to be? As I said, our focus is jobs, social security, and equity. Our 2017 budget is a clear statement where we want to spend our money. This summarizes some of the key projects. On top is the CCTV camera and surveillance equipment for 1.57 billion, infrastructure projects like power, roads, rebuilding. This year we are spending 20 billion naira with the support of the World Bank to rebuild all our primary schools. We've realized that renovating congested classrooms will not work, so we are building 2 to 3 story primary schools all across the state. And I want to appreciate and offer our gratitude to the country director of the World Bank for the massive work he has done to enable us access these funds that we hope we'll get from June 2017. So these are some of the projects that we are doing. But what are our priorities in 2017 that you can hold us accountable when we come back here, inshallah, next year? This year we'll complete the Zaria Water Project, which has been going on for something like 30 years. We will engage in unprecedented rebuilding and equipping of our schools. We will also continue our massive program to rehabilitate, maintain, and rebuild township roads all across the state. Every local government headquarters in Kaduna State will benefit from township roads by God's grace. We are creating a green economic zone, an agro-industrial park along Abuja Road, and providing infrastructure for the mining of nickel in Dangoma in Jama'a local government, as well as gold in Birnin Gwari and our rural areas. We are also converting the Doka Hospital on the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway into a world-class trauma center to save lives on this road. We are expanding our post-harvest price support for our farmers to encourage them to do more. We are expanding the anchor borrowing program to cover 6 crops: maize, ginger, soybeans, tomato, sorghum, as well as wheat. We hope this year to kick off the Kaduna Light Trail, which will link Rigachukwu with the refinery and go through the heart of Kaduna. We are establishing a special purpose vehicle that will borrow $650 million to implement this project. The state government is not borrowing this money. It's a commercial entity that will borrow and do this project via public-private partnership. We're also implementing an emergency nutrition intervention, particularly in our urban and rural areas, to reduce the number of our children that are malnourished. So why should you invest in Kaduna? There are at least 4 reasons. We have an experienced and educated workforce. We have the highest number of tertiary educational institutions in northern Nigeria, and we are working very hard to improve infrastructure. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, we have abundant natural resources. We are the largest producer of at least 3 agricultural products: maize, soya beans, and ginger. And we are second in tomato, potatoes, sugarcane, and sorghum. We have a large consumer market, about 10 million people. Over 80%, indeed 89% of our population are less than 35 years of age. So we offer a very huge pool of human resources. But beyond that, we are doing our best to make Kaduna investor friendly. We were recently